Some people clean their home every single day. Not because guests are coming, not because it got bad enough that they had no choice, just daily, automatically, like brushing their teeth. And when you ask them why, they usually can't fully explain it. It's just what they do. That inability to explain it, that is actually the most interesting part, because what they're doing has almost nothing to do with cleanliness and almost everything to do with something happening much further inside. Start there, with the person who can't explain it. Because if you watch them closely, and I mean really watch the behavior, not the result, you notice something strange. They straighten a cushion while walking past it without breaking stride. They wipe the counter while waiting for coffee to brew. They put something back before they've fully finished using it. None of it looks like effort. None of it looks like discipline. It looks automatic. And that distinction matters more than most people realize. Here is what is actually happening in that person's brain. Researchers at Harvard, Sabrina McMains and Kastner, published findings in 2011 showing that the visual cortex cannot fully filter out background stimuli. Multiple objects competing for visual attention don't just sit quietly in the background. They consume neural resources, actively, whether you notice them or not. So that pile of clothes on the chair, the stack of mail you keep meaning to deal with, the dishes from 2 nights ago, your brain is registering all of it, constantly. Not loudly, you're not sitting there consciously stressed about the laundry, but underneath, there is a low-level processing cost being paid every single hour you spend in that space. You know the feeling. You sit down to relax and can't quite get there. You open your laptop to work and find yourself mentally drifting to the things that need doing around you. You're not distracted by the mess exactly. It's more like the mess is a hum you can't locate and can't turn off. That hum has a neurological name. Researchers call it attentional competition, and a cluttered environment produces it continuously, at a cost you only fully notice when it stops. It's not just your focus that suffers. Darby Saxby and Rena Rapetti at the University of Southern California tracked cortisol levels, your primary stress hormone, across the day in a group of women, and cross-referenced the data with how those women described their homes. The ones who used language like cluttered, unfinished, chaotic, they showed a measurably different cortisol pattern. Flatter, more dysregulated, higher baseline stress across the entire day. Not just when they looked at the mess, all day. Your home is not a neutral backdrop to your life. It is an active input into your stress physiology. The mess you stopped noticing consciously, your body never stopped noticing. You come home from a hard day expecting relief and instead feel a kind of deflation you can't quite name. You wake up, walk into the kitchen, see last night's dishes in the sink, and your mood shifts before you've had a single conscious thought about the day. That's not you being dramatic. That's cortisol. So why do some people seem to escape this entirely? This is where it gets genuinely interesting and genuinely uncomfortable depending on where you sit with this. Because the answer is not discipline.
I want to sit with that for a second, because I think most people hear people who clean every day and immediately place them in a category of people who have more willpower, more motivation. And that framing, that story is exactly what keeps the gap in place. Phil Lally at University College London studied habit formation in real-world conditions, not in a lab, in people's actual lives. And what's the average time for a behavior to become automatic, truly automatic, not forced, was 66 days. Not 21, which is the number everyone repeats. 66, with a range stretching past 200 for more complex behaviors. But here is the part that matters more than the number. The people who crossed that threshold didn't get there through sustained willpower. They got there through something that happened at the identity level.
At some point, the behavior stopped being something they did and became something they were. The person who keeps a clean home isn't exercising discipline every morning. They're avoiding the discomfort of acting against their own self-concept. Cleaning is no longer a task they choose. Not cleaning creates a friction, a subtle wrongness that is harder to live with than the cleaning itself. And this is where I want to pause, because we are not done yet. If the mechanism is identity, not discipline, then all those times you tried to become tidier and failed, those weren't failures of effort. They were something more specific than that. You were trying to change the behavior without touching the layer underneath it. And that is like trying to repaint a wall without priming it first. It holds for a few days, then it peels.
We'll come back to that. First, because this deserves its own space, there is a reason people reach for a cleaning task when they're anxious. You've done this. Something is wrong, or nothing specific is wrong and everything feels vaguely off, and you find yourself reorganizing a drawer, scrubbing a sink, folding something that didn't need folding. And 20 minutes later, you're calmer. You didn't solve anything, the thing that was bothering you is still there, but something settled. Peter Lewinson, and later Christopher Martel at the University of Washington, developed what's called behavioral activation. Clinical finding is this: the brain does not reliably calm itself through thinking. It calms through completion, through closing the gap between how things are and how they should be.
When you clean something, your brain receives a signal. Task initiated, task finished, gap closed. And that signal reduces ambient arousal. Not metaphorically, measurably. The dishes get done and something releases. Not because your problems are solved, but because a loop your nervous system was holding open just closed. People who clean daily have often stumbled onto this without ever naming it. They built a habit that regulates their emotional state just as reliably as it maintains their space. The external order and the internal calm are not separate. They are the same process running in parallel. Now, back to the identity layer, because this is the part most people haven't heard framed this way. Julian Rotter at the University of Connecticut spent decades studying what he called locus of control, essentially whether a person believes their actions genuinely influence their outcomes or whether life feels like something that largely happens to them. People with a stronger internal locus of control show lower baseline anxiety, more consistent follow-through, greater resilience when things go wrong, and they are significantly more likely to maintain their environment. Not because clean people are born with more internal locus of control, but because every small act of restoring order is a behavioral rehearsal of the belief that your actions matter. Make the bed, you completed something. Wipe the counter, you changed something.